Well, hello, hello. Please come in and welcome to another live episode of Movies at Grandma's House. Welcome, one and all. We got a special guest joining us this time. How we doing, Ajax?
I'm doing great. How are you, Isaac?
I am doing fantastic. I am so excited because we get to do a new movie that's only a week old. And I want to thank you for joining me. Seth sends his regards. He's got just some stuff in his schedule. He was not able to make it, but he does send his regards. Big thank you again to you, Ajax. You filled in the past for us, but you have seen Zootopia 2. I'm sure you've got a lot of thoughts on this. So we're looking forward to it because again, this is a live episode. We're just hanging out on a Friday night. This is just different. I think most people are maybe out seeing this movie. I hope you are if you have not seen this yet. But we're just going to talk about it. So feel free to comment throughout. We're just going to be discussing this movie as it goes along. We normally have like fun facts. We have plot summaries. We have fun facts. We might get into those a little bit, but for the most part, we're just going to be hanging out here. So I'm going to throw it out to you a little bit, Ajax. Now, when did you first see this? Was it within the last few days, or was it
We
when it first
saw
came
it
out?
like right around when it came out, like the day after it came out. So, well, 2 days, maybe 2 days after, but yeah, it was like right when it came out. So we were super excited about it. My son Carter was excited about it. My wife Tammy was excited about it. We all wanted to see it because we just rewatched the original from 2016, and so we got psyched for the second one. And it's crazy to think it was 9 years ago. It doesn't seem like that long.
No,
I mean, a lot's happened in 9 years, but
a
kind of
lot.
surprised it took that long for the second one to come out. In animation, that takes a long time, and there's a lot involved in the process. But yeah, should we say spoiler warning?
I think
Spoiler.
if we can hold from spoilers, but yes, this is a
Oh, okay.
spoiler warning for anyone that has not seen this movie. Again, it's only a week old, so we're trying to be mindful of that, but we do apologize
Okay.
if we have something slip. I
Well,
think it's
and
going to
that
happen.
changes everything because I was gonna spoil so much. I mean, I was gonna leave the milk out. So,
There is a lot
um,
in this movie. There's so much jam packed. Now, let's stop for just a moment because you made a good point. You saw the first movie before
mhm.
you went into the second one. So just briefly, now me and Seth have touched on the first film. So I gotta get your thoughts on maybe how did you feel about the first one? I know there's a lot to unpack there, but just give your thoughts on it and even give it a rating if you want to. Just how would you rate it?
I mean, I loved the first one. I thought the story was excellent. The jokes were great. The characters, you immediately fall in love with them. And then there's so many little intricacies, too. I love the way they pay really close attention to the animals themselves and really get the characteristics of the animal down, and all their instincts and all their little quirks. So I love that about it. I mean, of course I would take it home. It's amazing. It's a take it home all day long. So what's nice about the first one going into the second one, you don't have to see the first one,
Yeah.
okay? Because it's a completely separate story, and it's not like it left on a cliffhanger. It just kind of left you with, oh, okay, well then we're gonna go into the next chapter. So then when you're watching the second one, you don't really you don't really go, oh, but what happened at this part in the first one? You're not thinking about the first one at all because the second one has such a new, fresh, really layered plot line to it, and it sets the table and just knocks it out of the park. So,
Yeah.
yeah, don't worry about going, oh crap, I have to see the first one. If you're like out and about, you're getting groceries, or you're you're out and you guys just change plans and you're like, oh, let's just go see it. Don't get worried about, oh, what happened in the first one, because it's not important to the story.
No, they do a good job of kind of segueing in. They actually show the last part. They spoil the first one. They show the last part of
Yeah.
the movie in that twist with the whole sheep and everything, and then they kind of go into immediately after that. That's what I thought was kind of neat about the sequel is a lot of times they say 1 or 2 years later, or they have some kind of time
Yeah.
gap. This jumps right into it right after, even though you said 9 years later we're getting the sequel, but it's picking up pretty much to the minute after the first film. So I thought that was pretty cool. A lot of sequels don't do that. And like you said, even if you haven't seen the first one, it does a good job of just kind of getting you up to speed. And yeah, you could go into this. I mean, I would recommend go back and watch the first one for sure because I took it home as well when we reviewed it. I really like the first one, but yeah, if you're like, I don't have time to watch the first one, but I really want to watch this because a group of friends, go for it. Go for it. You're gonna have a good time, and
That
again,
is a
you can
good
always go back.
point. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good point though that you said that it just completely spoils the ending to the first. You definitely want to have had seen the first one
yeah,
at some point. You don't want to just see the second one and that be the first Zootopia anything that you've seen. Yes, definitely watch the first one. But if you watched it like when it came out and now you're watching the second one, yeah, that's okay. So yeah, good point there. I like
yeah. Yeah, I would again recommend watch it. The first one, but I guess you can just kind of stick your well. It does kind of play into the second one, so maybe just watch the first one, but don't feel too bad about it. If you want to just be like, I want a summary, it's built into the movie. I think the one thing we'll jump into it here. Let's just kind of discuss it. The thing that if you want to talk about pros and cons when it comes to Zootopia 2, I think it actually starts out as much as it needs to build, like movies do. I don't want it to just hit me in the face and show me everything. It kind of I felt like the what you saw in the trailer, you're just watching the trailer the first 15 minutes or so because everything in the trailer is pretty much the first 15 minutes and then it starts to really pick up. I don't know. How did you feel about it when it's maybe in within that first 15 minutes or so?
Well, I actually didn't mind the first start of the movie, but it's interesting that you brought up the trailer. I think that they were so overprotective of the plot
Yeah.
in the trailer. Whoever edited and cut that trailer, they were a little too careful, and I thought it was a terrible trailer. To be honest, it tells you nothing. It basically, I think it's just like a reminder, like, oh, the second one's coming out. Okay, it's, I mean, because there's teasers that are supposed to do that. That's what a teaser is for. A trailer should give you some indication of what's going on, and this one does nothing like that at all. So, and
No.
I think the reason is because they didn't want to spoil anything, any of the surprises. But I get that. You could have still cut it to where it gave you some semblance of the plot. But I also, yeah, I didn't mind the opening. I thought it was okay. I think the problem that a sequel, especially a Disney animated sequel, has is that the characters that you love from the original don't get as much screen time because they have less importance to the plot of the new feature. So like, I can't even think of all the characters' names, but there's a lot of characters that were in the first movie that didn't have as big of roles in the new one. And that's the only thing that I didn't quite love. I was okay with the opening, but that's the thing where I'm like, well, they could have given them a little more of a storyline. And it's almost like, okay, so they're getting these huge A-list voice actors in for like a couple lines, like,
Right.
we'll fly in over the weekend. You can knock out your lines, and then you can be back on the set of whatever other movie you're working on. It's like, no, let them
Yes.
let them stay the weekend and give them another 15 minutes in the movie or something.
That was something I noticed too. That's something that actually segues into we got Seth in the comments, so I'm gonna throw him up there. Hey
Hey,
Seth, how's
Seth.
it going? Let me make sure. There we go. I can show you up on the screen. So he asks, "Who are your favorite characters?" And
Well, I'll
I
let
mean,
Isaac take this first because he didn't give anything away, but he saw it right before I did, and he didn't give anything away by saying this, but he basically said this is going to be your favorite character, and immediately it takes a while for this character to pop up, but once they do, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see I can see what he was saying because steals the show. So Isaac, what what character did you like the best?
probably in this one, I mean, I love Nick. He's a great character. I actually think he's one of my favorite Disney characters. We can come back to him, but yes, the in terms of this movie, there's a walrus that steals the show. There's actually several of them. They're pretty much the species, but there's a specific one, and I'll leave it at that. Exactly. I don't want to spoil it, but just be on the lookout. I think that's what's great about it is it just appears. It's not like
Yeah,
this
there
character that's reoccurring. You know what I mean?
that walrus is also in the trailer,
Yeah.
but they show it very briefly, and the part that's after the part in the trailer is, I mean, laugh out loud funny, and also just you think about it after after you see it, you like think about it for days, and just it's one of those things that stays with you, and you just start cracking up at various times throughout the days. You're thinking about it in your mind, and you're just like, ah, okay. Like if you're having a bad day, think about this scene from Zootopia 2. So yeah, I loved it too. My
That's what I enjoyed about it. Is it felt like those old movies where you think of a scene. Sometimes I watch a movie and it's not bad, but there's nothing memorable about it. If that makes sense,
right.
that was memorable. So I agree with you. That is why I liked it so much because I'm laughing about it right now. I'm thinking about it. And I'm still chuckling about it.
So my second, my runner up would have to be the Snake, or
Yeah.
the Snake, voiced by Ke Kwan, of Goonies fame, and I just think that he did an excellent job with that character, and just really brought something new and fresh to the table. And when you see what unfolds in this movie, you're going to see the layers peel back, and it's so much deeper. It has all the surface stuff that the kids will get and love, but his character's deep, and his storyline is really really layered and deep too. And yeah, as it peels back and unfolds throughout the whole film, you're really going to fall in love with the Snake. So I thought they did a great job with that. So that'd be my close second runner up to the walrus.
I think I agree with you on that. Like, if you want to give a list, but great question there, Seth. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Friday night, and we'll be mindful. I mean, we might kind of go into spoiler territory, but we're going to try and keep it spoiler free. We want to make sure as many people can enjoy it because maybe you haven't seen this. Again, this has been out for only a week. Maybe you're on the fence. I don't know. Maybe why. Honestly, I think this is one of the more exciting films that's come out here recently. It feels like this has kind of been an off year with movies, maybe hit or miss. There's been some good ones, but this is one I think we'll get to our reviews. I don't want to give too much away either. This is
Yeah,
a review, but it's kind of a
jump down
no-brainer.
off that fence.
Yeah. If you watch the first one, it's kind of like you got to go see this one. So that's why we want to just be mindful of if you have not seen this yet, if you're kind of, hey, I'd like to get some feedback. Some people like to get reviews before they go see the movie. I think you're kind of seeing now. I need to look it up. Did you see what the box office is so far for this? Because it's
Yeah,
breaking
I didn't
records
look it
last I
up.
checked.
Yeah, it did break records. I can't. I saw so many videos about it already, and I've already forgotten. Like it broke the definitely all the Disney sequels. It broke the biggest opening, I think domestically too, for a Disney sequel, and then I think maybe it did anyway, and then globally it's already crushed all the records for a Disney sequel. Like it blew them away. So, but yeah, as far as actual numbers, I don't want to try to to say what
Well,
they're.
here you go.
I'll be
This
off.
is the luxury of having the internet.
Hey, there we go.
You can look this stuff up pretty much
Look at
instantaneously,
that
if that's a word. If
worldwide number.
but
Okay, so
domestically,
that's crazy.
that's insane for 1 week. Its opening was 100 million. Domestic again. This has been a week, a little over a week, because I think it technically came out Wednesday last week because
Yeah, it's a
of
holiday.
everything
Yeah.
going on last week. And then internationally, I heard it's been doing really well, which is evidenced by 484 million, but the total worldwide 662 million. That's the record I'm thinking for a movie only being out for a week. So more than
Yeah.
likely, I think you've probably seen this movie, but we just want to be mindful of ones that have not seen it. We want to not go into the spoiler territory, especially if you go back to you've seen the first one but you haven't seen this one yet. It's a great segue. It goes right into it and you're gonna have a good time with it. But I mean, open up to you again. I kind of talked about the flow. I think it kind of starts out a little slow, and that's not a bad thing. I always say it like in a negative light whenever we talk about that of a movie having a slow opening. It's more or less I just wish I didn't see the trailer because when I was watching it, I was kind of like, okay, I've seen this part, I've seen it. Let's get going. And it's that like snowball. It's in the trailer, so if you've seen, I don't think that's spoiling anything. But the that right after that, I feel like that's where it really starts to pick up. And I got so immersed. I really got hooked into it. And I was at the beginning. I'm not saying I wasn't, but then I was buying in. I was like, all right, let's go. Like it felt like they literally shifted gears into the next year and they just put the pedal to the metal, so to say. But did you feel that way, or what was your thoughts of like the pacing overall? You didn't really have that problem?
Honestly, I didn't, and it might be just because we were so fresh off the original, but I think the thing that bothered me the most, and this isn't really a spoiler either, I promise, it's not really a spoiler either, but I mean, yeah, we're talking about a little fox and a little baby bunny, but they're so mean to them. I didn't like how mean they were. It's like they solved the case. The it's like
Yeah.
this was like real time. So we're talking like a week prior. Like, come on, guys. Like, you think you could be a little nicer to the little guys and
And
gals? I mean, like they just solved a huge case, and so yeah, I didn't really love that, but just kind of shows the underdog kind of or under fox and under rabbit kind of a
yeah.
feature to them. So.
This might be a little bit of a spoiler, but it might be a good word of caution.
Uh-oh,
So,
spoiler alert.
yeah, so
Spoiler
spoiler, I'll just
alert.
say it real briefly and then maybe we have it, so give it some time if you're like la 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 la. But like the captain, I think he's only in it for a few minutes. And I think it was because they didn't want to pay Idris Elba. Is that what you were thinking? Because I was thinking that.
Well, and that's kind of what my point was that I was talking about earlier. I'm like, these A-list actors, I don't know, what is it if they don't go over like 45 seconds, he doesn't get seven figures? Like, what is the breakdown there? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see more, but also at the same time though, he is like just kind of mean to to the poor what's the fox's name again? Nick
Yeah,
and Judy. Very
yeah.
mean to him. Like, come on now. Is there
It,
a jealousy thing? Is there an envious thing? I don't know.
it
But
seemed like they tied it up there at the end. I thought in the first one,
yeah,
and yeah, you're
yeah,
right. They just kind of
they
flipped
go
the
back
script.
into it.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. So that's the only part about the beginning I didn't care for. After that, though, forget about it. The rest of the movie is so good that it makes you forget about the little things that maybe you would just be nitpicking about.
yeah.
Which is, that's what your job is when you're reviewing movies. You have to nitpick a little bit, otherwise you wouldn't be reviewing it, right?
I think so.
So,
I mean, I was blown away. This is a movie you also want to watch on the big screen. I mean, we're probably going to encourage you just go out and watch this movie. Like we're kind of
mhm.
giving away a little bit of this is a good movie, but it's just gorgeous. It's really really good. And I go back to after that scene again, we'll try not to spoil too much, but they go to more of a bayou setting. So that's what's been really I really liked about the first one was the different settings. They're in like an Arctic, then they're in a jungle, and then it's more of a normal what you would see everyday life of humans, but there's animals. So there's this variety of environments, and they added to it with that bayou. It was just gorgeous. Like when they got to that scene, I was like, this might be up there best animation I've seen so far. Like it was definitely 2025 CGI animation. And there's been some great animated movies. It's not knocking like, oh, the animation's been really bad lately. It was just seeing it on a big screen, and when it got there, I actually was like just admiring the environment. There's a lot of characters in the background just doing stuff, and you're not gonna catch it all. You're just not. It feels like a real living, breathing world, and I got him. That's where I go back to. That's where it really clicked for me, and I was like, all right, I'm so ready. Like this is starting to amp up and get me into. I feel like I'm in the movie. Like that's how it was. But yeah, what was your thoughts on the animation? How do you feel about it?
I completely agree with you. And it's funny because when Disney and Pixar joined forces, I always wondered, I'm like, okay, well, are you still going to be able to tell them apart? Because you got the technology and they're kind of like, you know, they're a part of each other now. They're a family. And so this is, I guess I can say I really appreciate animation where it's not distracting. If it's not good, it kind of takes away from the film itself because you're paying attention to what you shouldn't be paying attention to. You start looking outside of the story and start going, why does that cloud look like that? That's not very good. That cloud shaped weird. Did they not color it in or something? Like so with this film, it's the closest thing I think in quality to a Pixar film. Like it, if you didn't know one versus the other, it almost looks like and feels like a Pixar film. And
Yeah.
I always thought that Pixar had that lifelike feel and touch to it. I think that's why they were so superior for so long. And now that they're the same company, I think that, or same parent company, I think that it really, really shows just how far they've come. Disney Animation Studios has come and used all the tricks. They were able to share their tips and tricks, and yeah, it's super bright and beautiful, and the attention to detail is just so well done. So yeah, I really, really love the animation. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it still mixes in the variety because a big part of the story is taking part in kind of that Arctic snow. Again, the beginning in the trailers, you kind of see that, but they also revisit that. There's again the bayou. They go to like these hills that kind of remind you of like Europe. They kind of hint at that. Characters, again, I don't want to spoil it because it's one that it's just enjoyable to get. There's a lot of those neat surprises. That's why we don't want to spoil it. You got to see it for the
Right.
first time. But there's some
Yep.
characters later on that appear there. That's what I love. I think what I've learned about myself as I enjoy movies, not that they have to, but the more like sense of adventure, traveling to different locations, I'll get really into it. And this was no different. This, again, the animation helped. You mentioned how sometimes animation can be bad. I think sometimes the animation was so good it was distracting because then I was looking over here like, oh, there's a guy over here, and then I'm lost track. Like, wait a minute, what did they say or what happened over here? So I guess it can work both ways. If there's bad animation, like you said, it can be
But
distracting because
are you thinking about the animation while you're watching it though, or are you thinking about it after the fact? Because for me, I'm just
yeah,
all locked into the story with
yeah,
Zootopia 2. I'm just like, okay. And then sometimes I'll be like, who's that voice? And then I'll think about it. I'm like, okay. And then I know it. And then others, I'm like, who is that? And then after I look at them, I'm like, really? Macaulay Culkin? Okay. Uh,
yeah.
like, what in the world? I didn't hear that voice at all, but okay.
It was so
So,
brief,
yeah.
yeah, when they would talk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right. So, yeah, it's fun.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think
just,
the thing that maybe if I'm trying to go back and forth, like, is this a perfect movie? No, and I'm interested to go back and watch it again and just see if I still have those feelings. Maybe after multiple viewings, the ones that you're like, you don't like as much, maybe it'll be better. Going back to like the beginning for me, I was thinking trailers the whole time. Maybe if I get that out of mind, it won't bother me the next time I see it.
well,
But
like I said earlier, I mean, with the trailer, for me, it was like the trailer did not do this movie justice at
no.
all. I hope it doesn't hurt it, and the numbers show that it didn't matter at all. But,
Mm.
but I'm like, why didn't you put some sort of plot into the trailer? I don't get that because it didn't get. I mean, it would not have given anything away if they did just reveal a little bit of the plot,
Yeah.
like show some storyline. So yeah, I really do believe that they were just afraid that they would give away too many secrets, and Disney would probably handcuff them and like, don't show this character, or else we'll go to another editing company. Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually on the like I try to avoid trailers anymore, and for that reason,
Really?
of like I'm
I see.
watching the movie and it's like okay I've already seen this before, and that's what happened at the beginning. So because trailers do give away too much, so I do credit them. I get what you're saying. I think there's a balance there. Like you don't want to be so vague, and then
I'll
it's
give you a
like
story about, and
yeah,
this is not a movies at grandma's house movie, but okay. So whenever there's a question of, and this could be a question for your questions, what's the worst trailer that you've ever seen, or have you seen a trailer of a movie that gave away the plot and ruined the movie for you? Michael Bay's The Island. Okay, I don't know if you ever saw The Island, but the full trailer completely gives away a a, a plot line that you're not supposed to know while you're watching it until like a good hour into the movie, and that's that they're clones. Like you're not supposed. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert on the island,
you just spoiled it
because
there. Yeah.
the trailer spoils it. But it's like I'm watching this the whole time after seeing the trailer and seeing it in theaters, and I'm like an hour in, and it's like a surprise reveal in the film. It's like one of those things where you're like, oh wow, but I'm sitting there thinking the whole time I'm like, am I supposed to know that they're,
Yeah.
because I already knew that. And then by the end of the movie, you're like, I don't think I was. I wasn't supposed to know that. That was like the hey, gotcha. And so I'm wondering, like, who gave the green light on the trailer? Where they're like, here's the whole movie. There's a twist, but you're supposed to know the twist. And no, you're not. You're not supposed to know the clones. Anyway, sorry, but
Yeah.
that's the island. I just wanted to give an example of a horrible reveal in a trailer that gives the whole plot of the movie away.
And that's what I don't like about trailers sometimes. They'll do that. Like, that's a great example. That's what they'll
Yeah.
do. And then you watch it and you're like, okay, well, I pretty much saw all the good parts. And that's what movie trailers are supposed to do. They're supposed to get you interested. So they're going to show good parts that have action or they have some kind of twist moment. But yeah, for the most part, I try to avoid them. And that's where, again, I go back to like, if I watch this again, maybe that was my downside, was maybe the beginning. I feel like there was drama kind of thrown in there with Judy and Nick's characters. I think it was well done. So I'm not going to bash it. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, that I didn't like it at all." I think it was good. It was just a little it took a little bit of the spotlight away a little bit at times where that was like the full focus and it kind of pulled away. It was very mild and minor. I'm trying to pull any kind of downsides because I think my downside is it built and then it hit the ground running and it got really good. And then there was just kind of these like, we got to throw this in because we have to. It almost felt like tropes. Those are kind of the cons I'm thinking of, but how did you feel about them, or was there any kind of cons that you had about the film?
The only con for me is the you don't see a lot of Flash. You don't see a lot of
No.
the Chief, like you said, and a lot of the original characters that had bigger roles and more screen time. And then, of course, the trailer. Those are my only two cons. I loved everything else about the film.
Mm.
Everything else. So I thought they just did a wonderful job, executed perfectly. All of the stories are so great. The characters are so well done, and the plot line is just deep and layered, and I
Mm.
love it. I
Yeah,
love the movie. That was great.
it is. And if you like Zootopia 1, the reason I say you really need to watch this is it gives you a little more history, backstory of Zootopia as a whole. And that's where you're saying it's a layered plot because it goes into like these flashbacks of the Zootopia and how it came to be. It kind of explains it, and you have this like, oh, okay, like it kind of makes sense. This is obviously a made up world, but when you can kind of have a story that it makes sense of why are there predators and why are there, these interacting together, it's still obviously made up and it's fictional, but when you can pull it together from your plot the way it does, that's again, I'll go back to the pros, the stories, the plot. I agree with you, is layered, it's well done, you get immersed into it, and it doesn't feel forced like I thought it would. I think at the beginning I felt like it was going to be a little bit forced because that's the whole mystery of what's going on, and they kind of clear it up, and then it's just this more of an adventure film, I guess, of just they're
Yeah.
trying to. I'm not trying to spoil anything, but there's a plot point of they're trying to race to get to a certain place, and that's the plot point. That's kind of the climax of things instead of, oh, what's going to happen with this mystery. That's something I really enjoyed about it. I think that's how you felt too.
Oh yeah, a lot of it is. I mean, there's a lot of heart in it too, and you begin to appreciate characters, animals that you wouldn't have necessarily thought that you were going to as the story picked up and moved along. And so, when you mentioned pacing, I thought it was paced really well. It keeps your attention, which is what you need for a family movie, especially involving kids. Kids are going to see this. You want them to be able to watch it and not go, I want to go get more popcorn, or I need to use the bathroom 3 times. No, you don't. Sit there, watch this. We paid money to see this movie. So, yeah, I mean, I just thought it was great. So I had a good time. My son had a great time. My wife had a great time, and that's all that matters.
Yep, that's it. I don't think we actually talked about like a rating. I guess maybe another slight con, if you want to say it bad, is uh, we Granny would probably rate this around a B minus because there is actually kind of a spoiler. There's a murder that is shown, and I was kind
Yeah,
of like, oh, whoa, that's in
of
a
an
Disney
of an
movie.
animal.
It
It was an
but
animal murder,
people might still take. I mean, it's an animal.
but yeah. So a lot of peril. Peril's that word that
Yes.
I like to the peril word. that comes up in a lot of, but it is important to the plot and it does move the story along. But at the same time, yeah, it's one of those unfortunate things. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of movies with that kind of thing, and that particular scene reminded me of a lot of old Disney,
Yeah.
because a lot of new Disney they kind of avoid that. They avoid
They
the
do.
the murder because they're like, we don't want to scare the children, okay? We stay away from that. But this one, I think it was important that it happened. It's a valuable lesson and that kind of thing, and also it helps that character's lore and helps their legacy. So I think that I think it was important, but yeah, I would say B minus is probably fair for that for
Yeah.
grandma's rating. Yep, I like
They,
that.
they didn't go as dark. We talked about it. Me and Seth did. There's some dark stuff in the first one.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I really like the first one. That would be my downside with the first one. There's a little dark elements
yeah,
kind of snuck in there here and there, and some of them you kind of overlook. But as an adult, you're like, ooh, they actually went there on a few things, and I'm glad they didn't push it more, and that's why I enjoyed it. I think if they pushed it more, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. This one they cut back on it, so I really appreciate that because that was my only gripe with the first one. But that is just a word of caution. Like it's better, not as dark, but there is a dark. There is still a few dark moments, which you're gonna get. I think that's just a given, especially if you saw the first one. You're gonna probably expect that at times, but I was just more surprised they don't show they actually say murder, and I was like, oh wow, they
yeah. That's
don't.
kind of weird.
Yeah.
You're right about that. That was kind of weird that they said that. Now,
Like they weren't hiding anything on
completely
that.
completely off topic here and going back to Seth's original question. I can't believe I forgot about this. But I don't know if I'm coming down with a cold or something. My voice is a little hoarse. Hey, speaking of hoarse,
Yes.
say Isaac, um, who voiced the horse in this? The mayor. Who was that voice?
Yeah, it'd be the one and only Patrick Warburton.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right,
I'm
so
the mayor.
Isaac's Patrick Warburton. You just heard it. It is like so spot on. I love it. I mean, that is a perfect impression. I wish I could do impressions at all, but I can't do any. So I'm glad to hear that. That is such a great. And
I love
he is
his
so
voice.
good.
He's great. Me and my wife were laughing. There's a lot of it's not adult like bad. It's just my kids weren't laughing, but me and my wife were laughing. I mean, I'll spoil a little bit. He is asked a question and he starts counting as a horse would, stomping. I'm just laughing like this is great. My kids are just kind of like okay, but little stuff like that of maybe kids will pick up on it, but I think the adults will really have fun with it. The humor's still there that adults are going to pick up on those little subtle things and
Oh, it is puntastic. I mean,
yes.
okay, so the writers' room had so much fun with this movie, and just the amount of puns, like they tripled the puns from the first one. The
Yeah.
first one had some really good stuff in there. This one, they're all over the movie, and I think that's what I'm gonna have really a lot of fun with going back and rewatching. Once it starts streaming, or once you can buy it on Blu-ray and 4K Ultra, whatever. Because I will love to pick up and go, oh, I didn't see that the first 3 times I watched it.
Yeah.
Because there's some good stuff. The DVDs again, those were back. And there's some funny ones in there. The Frozen 12, like you can tell Disney is okay with poking fun at themselves too. I mean, like they're self-aware. They know,
Yeah.
they know when they're in for a money grab. Why not make a Toy Story 5? It's the most popular movie ever. Why not? Of course. But didn't we patch that up in 4? Like, how is Buzz back? We'll find out, won't we? So
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
I love those. I mean, that's a great point. There's a lot of jokes, puns, and you're not gonna get them on one watch through. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Like you said, it comes
Yeah.
back to streaming. If somehow we can get to the movie theater, I've got 4 kids, and it was fun to take them, but maybe for some parents it's not a big deal. For us, it was like an accomplishment. Like we did it. So if we can somehow get back to the theater, I think it's worth seeing at least for once for sure. You could probably see it multiple times though, but at the very least, yeah, if it comes to streaming, I'm going to look forward to watching it again to pick up on those jokes. There's another character as well. I think that was one of your favorites. going back to Seth's question, we'll just kind of throw out, maybe we don't want to spoil again too much. There's a lot of good characters, but the lizard, the reptile,
Oh yes.
he was great too.
There's a particular scene where he says something very profound, and then the very next thing he does is what his animal, that's what that creature does.
Yes.
And it is hysterical. The juxtaposition of what he says and then what he does next. It's the lizard, so look out for it. It's so funny.
See, we're laughing
Yeah, I
about it
love
still. Going back to like this has
Well,
a lot of
Isn't
good
isn't
scenes.
that
You think
that's
about
what's his face? The
Danny
Danny
Trejo.
Trejo, yeah.
Yeah,
And
great
the
job.
lizard, they made him look exactly like Danny Trejo too,
They
which is
did.
funny. And then that scene, oh my goodness, I was dying laughing at that. It's so
The
funny.
whole theater erupted, and I mean, you're gonna. That's not really. You're gonna see it. You'll see it
And
coming, but
then
it's still a surprise if that makes
another
sense.
character,
Yeah,
Nibbles Maple Stick. That's
yeah.
another really voiced by Fortune Feimster. That is the actual actress's name, Fortune Feimster. Hilarious comedian too, but she did an excellent job with the beaver. There's a certain scene, and this isn't giving any. Well, maybe it will. So yeah, maybe I won't say what I was going to say. But there's a scene where Carter, like my son, when he was watching it, he pointed something out, and I was thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, are they going to even address that? And then they do, and then
Yeah.
you see what happens, and you're like, oh, well, that's funny, because like you're standing there watching, you're like, but it can get through that, can it? And you're like, yeah, it does.
That
So
is a
funny.
good point. Like at the end, as you go through it, there's a lot of loose ends. They don't tie up.
Mhm.
And then if you're paying attention, you're like, wait a minute, what about this? What about that? And then right as you're thinking that, at least it did for me, it's like they address it and
Right.
they fix it.
Yeah.
So I actually
Well,
appreciate that. Like it was kind of a gotcha. I don't know how they did it. At least it worked for me. Maybe everybody else
I know
caught
what
on
you mean. I
before.
think animated feature films have a luxury in the amount of time it takes in the production, because that's one of those things that a lot of movies, tying up loose ends is hard to do, especially when you have so many little intricate details. But animation has that benefit of it taking years and years and years to produce, because you can think about it and you can go back and you go, oh, we didn't make the water buffalo figure out how he's going to do this, this, and this. And then they can rewrite it, and then they can make it as simple as like a news story coming on the TV in the background. And at least they did something to address it. Whereas, like, if you're a live action movie, you've got a production, you got a deadline, you got to turn it in, it's got to get done. And then they realize in post that we didn't do anything about this, and that voice actor is on the set of another movie, like in Uzbekistan, so I don't think we're going to be able to find them. And then they got to like scramble, and maybe they cut the whole scene or cut the whole character, and they don't have to do that with animation. So that's the brilliance of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like. There's not really any loose ends, things like that. They do a good job of making sure it's everything is wrapped up in a nice little bow. It kind of feels like so. Well, we got a few things we want to get to. I do have some reviews I can touch on, but I want to throw it out to you, Ajax. Is there anything else you just want to maybe touch on? It can be really anything.
Absolutely.
Overall.
So I think it's very important that the one thing that I do is give you a dramatic reading of Shakira's song from the film. And the name of that song is called, get this, Zoo. I know.
Who'd have thought?
Zootopia 2 contains a song called Zoo. And I'm not going to read it word for word, although I'd love to, but I'm just going to give you a few lyrics. Here we go.
Take it away.
Because there is Spanish in here, and I'm not very well versed in Spanish. I'm not going to read the Spanish parts. Okay, Shakira Zoo. Here we go. Come on, get on up. We're wild and we can't be tamed. And we're turning the floor into a zoo. Ooh, ooh. We live in a crazy world, caught up in a rat race. Concrete jungle life is sometimes a mad place. It's you and me together at the end of a wild day. Don't keep it all bottled up and release your energy. Hey, OA, Only reason we are here is to celebrate in a place where anyone can be anything. Hold on to this moment. Don't let it fade away. Baby, keep the music playing. Come on, get on up. We're wild and we can't be tamed. And we're turning the floor into a zoo. Ooh, ooh. Come on, keep it up. It's fun if you're down to play. And we're turning the floor into a zoo. Ooh, ooh. We live in a heated time. No chance to cool down. Continuously confined. And what do we do now? It's all about finding love. Sometimes hard to come by, but when it comes to us, it's always a good time. And then the chorus repeats, and then there's a huge post chorus, and then there's some verses in Spanish in a bridge, and then there's a chorus again. So that would take way too long, and I would definitely butcher the Spanish verses. So I'll end it there. But that's part of Zoo by Shakira, who plays the Gazelle. Is that who
Yeah,
Shakira's
I
character
think
is?
that's her.
Gazelle. Yeah,
It's
that's her name too. Gazelle. Yes.
Gazelle. She's the pop, which makes sense. It's like perfect. She can just play herself as
Mm-hmm.
a gazelle, pop star in
Absolutely.
the Zootopia universe. But
Mm-hmm.
well done there. Yes, that's actually, as you said that, I thought to myself, this is actually a really long song because they play it
It
kind of
is.
throughout, and then at the end, of course, as the title or the credits roll. And I think I did think that, like, man, this is actually a pretty long song. It works though; it's catchy. The
Did I
zoo.
scare you? Like he's gonna read the whole thing?
As you're
Oh.
reading it, I was like,
Uh,
"Oh, that's right. It is." You were mentioning
oh
it's
no.
long, and I was like, "It is actually." You didn't even read all of it.
All right. Let me start it over, and we'll go verbatim.
But good stuff. But yeah, anything else? We'll get to our reviews, but anything else to just kind of throw in there before we kind of
See
get.
Zootopia 2. You have to see it. It's definitely worth watching. And yeah, you don't have to have seen the first one recently, but as Isaac mentioned, you have to have had seen it at some point. So yes,
That's
but
it.
that's all I got.
All right, I put my stamp of approval on that too. Definitely go check this out if you have not already. But maybe look around at a few user reviews. That's what Seth likes to do. So it's from IMDb. I just have a few of them that I thought were pretty interesting. There's not very many since this is still new. Maybe if we go back and me and Seth do kind of a revisit of this, maybe there'll be some more reviews out there. But this is the ones I was seeing. First one's The Real Dark Fang said Disney's comeback. Gave it an 8 out of 10. And I like that review because it seems like Disney, even Pixar, has kind of had that down slope in the last few years. I completely agree. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. I mean, there's been some duds, and you don't expect that from Disney Pixar. I mean, Pixar, especially for a long time, was just, I mean, they could not do wrong. And then they made about four or five in a row that were just forgettable. In Disney, I mean, yeah, there were some epic fails lately. So, yeah, I mean, just, I'm glad to see them pick up the pieces, and maybe they're going to start a new winning streak. We'll see.
The box office is showing they're back on pace. Like you said, they've had a few kind of box office fails, but this is again only a week, and I think it's a success already. That's just crazy to think about. So next one is from my May J. Says this movie heals my inner child. 7 out of 10. I kind of like that because we've talked about a little bit of just scenes you remember. That is what's been lacking a little bit. If we're touching on these movies Disney's done recently, it's not that maybe they were bad movies, they were just kind of forgettable. They just, I don't know, there was nothing special about it. This is going to be something I'm probably going to, I want to again go back and watch again, but there's going to be those scenes that we were kind of chuckling about. We're thinking about them. I'm still going to be thinking about them, kind of like the first movie. There's a few scenes like that I still think about and I'll chuckle. Uh, so that's what sets us apart from the recent Disney. But what do you think of that? It heals their inner child. I kind
I
of like that.
love, yeah, I love that because if you think about when you're an adult, it's a slippery slope to write a film and to produce a film that comes out and make it for everybody. something the kids are going to enjoy, but the adults aren't going to get bored with. Something the kids aren't going to get bored with, but the adults are going to appreciate. And if you can somehow connect those pieces and wrap them up in a nice little bow, and everybody in the end, everybody's happy. Yeah, in that inner child part, it gets you feeling like, okay, if I was 8, would I love this just as much as I do when I'm, older now? And if the answer is yeah, I would have absolutely loved it and then appreciate it and got the parts that I didn't get yet when I'm older, you can really sense that. Then yeah, absolutely. Because there's always those little touches in movies that you haven't seen before, newer movies that remind you of liking a certain thing or a certain something about a movie when you were a kid. And that's what movies like this do. So the inner child part, that's definitely key. So yeah, I appreciate that too.
Yeah, that one stuck out to me, and I agree with that comment. This is what honestly movies should do, especially kids movies, animation. It should make you feel like a kid. I don't care how old you are. You should feel like a kid again. I think this movie does a good job of that. Okay, last one. Jeremy 916 791 020 says a movie that feels like Disney had fun making it. Gave it an 8 out of 10. And that goes back to, like you said, like they're poking fun at Disney a little bit here and there, and there's just a lot of fun moments. There's a lot of action that I feel like, yeah, they were probably having some fun storyboards and planning things out. It just wasn't rushed. It didn't feel like, okay, this was a money making machine 9 years ago. Let's just crank out another one. They really took their time with this one, and I appreciate that too. I agree with that. But what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what fun was not to be had on this? I mean, I know
Yeah.
there's got to be so much tedious stuff that goes into making an animation that I couldn't even possibly wrap my head around the amount of time it takes months and months and months for just seconds of frames. And you just, when you put that into your brain, you're like, okay, but like, when do you get the payoff? 9 years later? Okay, sure. But is it worth it? Well, in this case, it's definitely worth it. So, yes, absolutely.
Yes, I agree. You gotta respect. That's why we stay through the credits, and it's not so much like I'm gonna read every single name, but I like to like kind of see, oh, who did this, who did that, and I'll be honest, I'm probably not gonna remember their name, but it's just kind of like my way of showing my thank you for making this movie because it takes a lot of it. You just don't even, unless you're in that space, you're not gonna know how much time they really spend on it. Yeah.
You can't mention you can't mention pulling random names off of credits without thinking about Mystery Science Theater 3000 and just the little stories that they make up for the random people's names that show up in the cast credits
Yes.
in the boom mic. Did you see who held the boom mic? Justin Slayman.
We try to look for like me and my wife. We did that when we first got married, and we'd sit through. We would try to find the funniest names because there's some
Yeah,
really
there's some
interesting names. That's just something I recommend people. Marvel and all these other ones have these
yeah.
after credits where people have started to do that more. But I recommend it because it's actually kind of fun. You can kind of just let the movie soak in a little bit. You can kind of talk with each other. What'd you think of this? Kind of like what we're doing right now, and then at the same time, you can look at some funny names sometimes that come across on the credits. So this is
And if you have not seen the film yet, you have to stay till the end of the credits because there is a post-credit scene.
yes,
Now, is the post-credit scene the most important post-credit scene you'll ever see in your entire life? No. But it does give you a little bit of a hint toward a possible film in the future.
yes.
So definitely stay till the end.
If you're a fan of this series, I can say series now because there's two of them.
Mhm.
You got to see it because it'll get you pumped for what could be coming. I'm assuming because this is making so much money, there's going to be a third one, but you always don't know. It's like when they make that in hindsight, thinking, yes, this is going to be a hit, but we've seen where movies do that, and then the movie fails and they cut spending and say, yeah, we're not going to do a sequel. But yes, glad you mentioned that because that is another reason. Obviously, you want to stay through the credits. If you love this series, you don't want to miss that. You definitely want to see that, kind of get anticipation and excitement built for the next one. Okay. Well, Let's do it. Let's go ahead and give our review. And just as a reminder, this is our live we like to do from every once in a while. We like to announce the winner for our free poster giveaway. So just as a reminder, before we get to our reviews, I've meant to throw this up here sooner. We just got so immersed in talking about Zootopia 2. If that tells you a little bit more, we'll get to our ratings, how we feel about it. But there's our newsletter. That's all you got to do. Go on our newsletter, sign up. That gets you an entry into our free giveaway. It's once every month. What's so great about it is once you're on the newsletter, you don't have to keep signing up every time. You're going to be entered every month. We give a free poster away courtesy of movieposters.com once a month. Big shout out to them. They're awesome people over there. So again, sometimes this goes down on me, but there's the link. Make sure you sign up. That way you get your entry in for at least this time and for the future drawings, because we do it all random. It's just whoever's on our newsletter, that is your entry. All right, so let's get down to that. We talked at length. This was a lot of fun to kind of spoiler-free get to talk about Zootopia 2. This is only a week old, but even with a week old, I think we can feel pretty confident giving it a rating. So starting with you, Ajax, got to ask you the question. For Zootopia 2, how are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
I am going to take it home immediately when possible.
Yes.
So it was a brilliant sequel, return to form for Disney, and just a great story, great plot, excellent use of new characters, and there's nothing that any age group won't appreciate. So definitely check it out. Take it home.
Very nice. Yes, do not take it home yet. Don't take a
Don't
camera.
buy it
there.
off of one of those characters from Zootopia 2 or Zootopia.
Weaselton, I think is his name.
Yeah,
If you want
don't
a fun
buy
fact,
any of those bootlegs. Those are not real. Those are the fake bootlegs.
That character Weaselton is voiced by Alan Tudyk, who also did the voice in Frozen. So that's a fun fact. I don't know if we threw that in on the first one, but that's
in Frozen 12, you mean?
Right, for Frozen 12. That's why he's called Weaselton. So it's a great little nod to the Frozen series, because that was it's Whistleton, or I can't even remember his name, but they called him Weaselton. Yeah. So with that said, though, yes, I think it's apparent. Definitely take it home. For me, kids loved it. I loved hearing them laugh. Watching it in the theaters, I've come to appreciate again that movie theater experience. We haven't been out to see movies as much, just with the COVID and everything that happened a few years ago. That kind of slowed things down. You're seeing the movie theater start to ramp back up again. I'm noticing, obviously with the box office numbers, you're seeing it with Zootopia and other movies. But for us personally, we just don't go out and see them very often. This was an experience. It was just so much fun. I go back to the animation. It's so gorgeous. It just pulls you in. We didn't touch much on the characters, Nick and Judy, but they are fantastic. They're growing as characters. They were great in the first one, and it just picks up. I talk about how there's a little bit of drama, but it's not a bad thing. It's a great way to continue their relationship, to build on that plot point, and it's just fun. Like you said, there's so much fun to be had. There's so many new characters, and they're all memorable, in my opinion. There might be some minor ones that you won't remember as much, but I don't remember, outside of the first Zootopia, movies that have so many characters that are just fun. You just have a great time with them, because sometimes you have maybe this one character over here. I think you're gonna, like you said, adults, kids, you're gonna enjoy this. You're gonna have characters that maybe some like, or some, there's a nice variety, is what I'm trying to say. Is just go out and see it. Yeah, go out and see this if you can, especially if it comes on streaming. Watch it right away. There's no reason, especially if you've seen the first one, you should be rushing out to see this one for sure. All right, well, there's our review, but like we mentioned, we still have a giveaway to get to. So I'm gonna throw this up one more time, because we want to make sure anyone that has not, if you have not signed up for our newsletter, make sure you're on there, because there's also some free digital stuff we're going to be throwing in the newsletter as well. You don't want to miss out. Stay tuned. Right now we have a customizable movie ticket. I actually have one just sitting here. Here's a Big Green. That was a movie that we considered here recently, but this is a template you can get for free on the newsletter. So if you got kids, if you got family, you want to make that theater experience at home, It's a free template that you can customize and print out. It's a lot of fun. We do it with our kids, and they love it. All right, well, let's get down to it, though. I know everybody's anxious to see who is going to win this month's free movie poster. So let me know, Ajax. Is that showing up okay? Can you see that?
It's showing up. I can see it.
Perfect. All right, so there we go. Without further ado, do you want to do the honors, Ajax? Tell me when to start it.
Go ahead and start it now.
All right, there it goes.
Mitchell, a great episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000, but the winner is Adelano 2008.
There it is. We have a winner.
Congratulations, Adelano 2008.
Congrats. Awesome. And thank you so much for being on our newsletter. Again, big shout out to all of our followers for watching us here this evening. This was a lot of fun, Ajax. Again, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for
Can't
having me.
recommend enough. Again, go see Zootopia 2. You're going to have a great time. Lots of fun for the whole family. I think, again, we gave it, Grandma's about B- just because of a few things there, but I think Grandma's going to enjoy this one too. Lots of fun, lots of funny puns, like you said, with the animals. So again, public service announcement. No spoilers there. I think it's also being enjoyed by the public, by all the records it's setting at the box office as well. But before we wrap things up, Ajax, since you are a special guest, give a little bit of the spotlight for you. Where can people find and connect, and what kind of projects you working on?
Well, Isaac's co-host Seth is also co-host of mine for an excellent podcast that we do together called Cover Wars, which is a podcast about cover songs. What we do is we find you the top 3 covers of a particular song, and we reveal our top 5s, and then sometimes we disagree and sometimes we agree, but we find you those top 3 cover songs, and then it culminates in the best cover ever of a particular song. And so you can find us on YouTube at Cover Wars Podcast. You can find us on TikTok at Cover Wars. You can find us on Facebook at Cover Wars Podcast. And then you can also email us at coverwarspodcast@gmail.com. If you have a suggestion for a song that we should be tackling and battling it out, please let us know. We are also going live this Monday, December 8th, on YouTube at 7 p.m. Seth and I will be going live, and we will have a special show. We are going to pick our top 3 covers that we've covered in season 1 of our show. So definitely stay tuned for that if you're available at 7 p.m. on Monday, December 8th. Please join us. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Lots of great stuff there. Yes, check them out. It's a lot of fun to have requests. It's kind of like giving you the sense of the radios, when we didn't have streaming and stuff, you had to request a local radio station and wait for your request to go in. But you can do that. You can request a song, and Ajax and Seth will cover it, cover songs
Yeah.
of it all there. So
a lot of redundancy, but yes, it's true.
You know what I'm trying to say. You got it. So if you're, again, going to connect with us for Movies at Grandma's House, we're here on YouTube. Again, thank you so much for everyone that joined in and watched us. Or if you're watching after on the recorded, be sure, again, you are signed up on our newsletter. We'll stress that enough. And you saw Ajax was holding that up. There's a QR code. But if you click the link, that'll get you there. But you can also find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. It's Latix Media on TikTok. We just love to hear from you guys. We love to hear memories.
You have a Patreon? Yeah, a Patreon too. Right?
We do have a Patreon. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yes, Seth's got the whole list there, so I'm slacking. I don't have Seth with me to bail me out. But yes, Patreon. Check us out on there as well. But the big thing is newsletter, because that's going to get you some freebies and, again, a possibility of winning a movie poster, just like Adelino 2008. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, but again, congratulations for winning our free movie poster for this month. And thank you again.
Adelino 2008. Pick out a good one, okay? Don't pick out one you're going to regret. Pick out a really cool one, okay?
And there's lots. Again, go anybody. Just go on movieposters.com. Big shout out to them. It's a lot of fun. I've found myself just kind of browsing on there. It's fun to kind of, I remember this movie, you grew up watching, because I've got a few of them behind me that bring back memories just seeing the poster. I remember when I got to see them in the movie theater, so definitely check those out. But that's going to do it for now, folks. Again, thank you so much, Ajax, for coming on. It was a lot of fun. Loved your insights and feedback, but can't stress it enough. Go watch Zootopia 2 if you have not already. Go check it out. Well, that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's house, but don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.